Hey guys, it's Gurp Dhaliwal from Capture Studio and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about highlight and contour, so let's get started. Whenever I am contouring or highlighting, I like to highlight first just because I don't want certain areas to get muddy with the contour. You have some options. I'm just going to show you some. This is Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. This is in light. This is one of my favorites. This is Master Conceal by Maybelline in light, Tarte Shape Tape. So I'm going to take the product and begin underneath the eyes. Kind of want to create like this triangular area underneath our eye. You don't need to place the product super underneath the eye because you can take this product and travel with it upwards. So I'm also going to take this down the nose, and this is more of like the nose contour. And then I'm also going to take a little bit right here between the brows. And if you have a very large forehead like myself, you don't want to take it super high because this is going to really highlight that area. So I like to just focus it right here. If you want your chin to look a lot more longer, we're going to add a little bit right here. This is what I do for my brightener, and I'm going to blend this out. I'm just going to take a sponge. You guys can see I'm just blending on the areas. I'm not spreading it out too much. You have to be careful because some products do dry down a lot quicker. So you guys can see how it's getting a lot more brighter and it just looks so much more lifted. Like this cheekbone area looks a lot more lifted. Whatever is on the sponge, I'm just going to take to the sides of the nose as well. So I can take my foundation brush and I can just smooth out some of the areas around this just to help with blending. So for contour, these are some of my favorites. I like to use a Hoola contour stick. You guys have seen me use this so many times. You can even use a foundation stick. So like this one, this is by Maybelline. This is in number 255. You guys have seen me use this as well. Another favorite of mine is the Motives Sculpt series. So this is what it looks like. And it comes with a bunch of shades. I really like this one as well. You guys can see that I have used it quite a bit. I like this one because it's formulated like a foundation, so it blends out on the skin very nicely. Naturally, you're going to see that from the top of the ear, almost to the corner of the mouth, almost, you have this area. So if I was to make a fishy face, you guys see it right here? And then just blend up a little bit. If I wanted my cheeks to look fuller, I would just cup it like this, and that's also going to make me look a lot more youthful. But if I want more of a chiseled look, I'm going to go straight. I feel like I have fuller cheeks without doing that, so I'm going to skip that today. I have a larger forehead, so to minimize that, I'm going to take this right here along that hairline. Also gonna add it here. A lot of the times people take their highlighter way past here. That's going to make that area look a lot bigger, but I want to kind of minimize it like this. So I'm adding some contour there. Back here, I like to add some product here as well because when I'm looking head on, I want this area to look smaller. So I'm creating shadows. And then also I'm going to take this on the jawline and then blend backwards like this. There is a shadow there. And then if I wanted my chin to look more pointier, I would take this like that. And now I'm going to blend this out. So when I'm blending this out, I'm just pouncing the sponge on the spot. And you guys can see that it's just kind of diffusing. You really want to work it into the hairline. You can see that just looks so nice and blended because you don't want it to look like it just came out of nowhere. Blending this outwards as well, and then blending this down. This is what it looks like. So you guys can see we have started the basis of the contour. We are going to put powder contour on top of this, but I just want to show you guys the angles. And then I can also take my foundation brush and just kind of blend in between a little bit so none of the lines look too harsh, especially along the jawline. I can just soften a little bit. So now I'm also going to take a little bit along my nose. If you want to have a lifted nose, you would apply right here. So this gives the illusion of a lifted nose, and it kind of just like shortens it. And then I'm going to take a little bit down the sides here. To blend this out, I'm just going to take this little guy, this little sponge. If I wanted to, I could go back in with my Tarte Shape Tape and just define this nose a little bit more. So now that we have the nose contour done as well, you guys can see that there is light coming down the middle. It's a little bit more chiseled. So now that we are done with all of the cream and liquid portions of the contour, we're going to move on to setting everything with our powders. I'm going to start off with the under eyes. I'm going to take my sponge and just tap out any creases that may have occurred. If you do not do this, you will be setting those creases and they will stay like that. So you got to make sure you guys tap that out. To set your under eyes, you can use any powder. There are so many amazing ones out there. Laura Mercier powder, this one is in translucent, Patrick Star and MAC powder, which is really pretty. It has a little bit of pink to it. RCMA no color powder, I've used this and I love it too. There's so many powders out there. Today I wanted to try out this guy right here, which is the Maybelline Fit Me. I've heard such amazing great things about this, and it's funny because this reminds me of the Huda Beauty powder, but I just want to see how this guy works. This one is in Fair Light, and I'm going to push this into my under eyes. So essentially this powder will also help in brightening the under eyes and the areas that you want to brighten as well. I'm also going to take this down the side of the nose. Okay, so this is the part where people bake. So baking is essentially compacting the powder on certain areas to let it absorb into that skin and then dust it off. I personally don't like to overly bake it because I feel like I get really dry patches. So what I'm going to do is lightly powder my face. This is a pressed foundation powder in G40, but I don't use too much of it. And you want to make sure that you are patting this onto the skin. We don't want to move around all of those cream products. I'm just going to go in and dust off that powder. And now for just setting all of the contour areas, you can use a bronzer. This is MAC Give Me Sun. You guys have seen me use this so many times. I absolutely love it. A bronzer is more used just to kind of add a wash of color all over. It kind of makes it look like you have been out in the sun and you have this gorgeous tan going on. Personally, for bronzer, I kind of focus in this area. So to powder contour, you can use the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette. I usually go in with this shade right here, the Kat Von D Shade and Light. There are so many different options out there. That middle shade works beautifully as well. Today I'm going to be showing you with the Anastasia kit, and we're going to take this shade right here. I really like this brush from e.l.f. It's really inexpensive. You can use it to pack product underneath the eyes, or you can use it to contour. So I'm just going to take this. For contour, you want to focus on the portion that you want to define. For my nose, I'm going to pick up a fluffier brush and then just go in with that powder ever so carefully. And I also work this into a little bit of the eye area right in the front here. So at this point, you would go ahead and apply your blush. I'm going to be using MAC Peaches. So since I have a more rounder face, I'm going to focus the product right about here. I don't want to take it super high, but I'm going to add a little bit on the apples of my cheeks as well, just because I like how that makes my cheeks look. I usually smile, and then from the middle of my eye going downwards, and then just kind of brush it into that contour and bronzer. So now we can add some shimmer highlight to the tops of our cheeks, to our nose, just to make those areas stand out a little bit more. And before doing that, I am going to spritz my face just to kind of get rid of all of this powdery look. And my favorite product for that is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. I just love this. You can also use MAC Fix Plus. So what this does is it really helps all of those products just kind of bind together. And now I can move on to my shimmer. So there's so many great highlighters out there. Champagne Pop by Becca, Dose of Colors Fuego, Ofra Rodeo Drive, MAC Whisper of Guilt. You want to make sure that if you have some texture on your skin, it doesn't accentuate that. So there are certain formulas that will do that. So you have to really see what works really nicely on your skin. For my highlight lately, I've really been loving, this is a blending brush by Juvia's Place. This is just what I've been using. So I'm going to go in with that. You can also use a fan brush like this guy just to kind of hit the areas. The e.l.f. brush works really nicely. You don't want to use anything super large, so you wouldn't go in with this. That's way too big. So don't do anything really, really big. Maybe I'll start off with the fan brush just to kind of show you. So there's a bone here. You want to place it on there. If you have fuller cheeks, you want to be careful not to add too much here because it will make your cheeks look bigger. You can also add a little bit to the tops of your forehead. I'm just moving the brush back and forth. So now this is also making my cheekbones look a lot higher. If you would like, you can just take your finger and then take a little bit on the tip of your nose. This is going to make it look kind of like that button type of nose, just very rounded out. That's a little bright. Make sure you blend And then you can also add a little bit right here. Ideally, I don't feel like I would go this bright. Just so you guys can see it on camera, I'm really exaggerating everything. Don't forget, you can always layer products if you don't like how one product looks on its own. So I'm gonna take Champagne Pop just because it's a little bit more golden-y, and I'm just gonna pop this on the very high points. You can also add some to the inner corners and to the brow bone, but I'm going to do that once I'm done my eyeshadow. This is basically how I contour and highlight my face. If you guys have any more questions for me, make sure you guys put them in the comment section down below. And make sure you guys check out my 4th episode for my artwork series. I'm going to add a shout out here. So shout out of the week goes to Neha. Thank you so much for always liking and supporting all my work. I love and appreciate you so much. So that wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in my next one. Thanks guys for watching.